This is what Mercury retrograde is all about. Traffic and just moving so slow. Good morning. Hopefully you enjoyed the video that I made last night. Did I say good morning? Grand rising. Good God. Mercury retrograde, I'm trying to tell you. Communication is off. And that includes the traffic flow and the flow of things in general. Just moving slower and rethinking things. All right. I'm on my way to the JLB, which I'm rethinking. Y'all enjoyed this video. Hey, so yes, I figured this out on the iPad. I wish I'd have known this, or I don't know if this feature was available, but anyway. Welcome back. So I have right here today set on my old address. We're gonna get into that address a little bit later if we have time, but let's go through what's going on with all this. Hopefully this is not too much you're looking at, but I would like for you to pay attention to where it says number 7 over here in the 7th house, where we have the sun in Taurus at 20 degrees, so that's the purple circle. We have Uranus in Taurus at 15 degrees. That's the pink symbol. We have, of course, the Taurus North Node at 22 degrees. So we also have the Scorpio North Node over here in the 1st house at 22 degrees. They are RXing, which is that they're retrograding. That's the RX, the red R's. And also we already have here at 4 degrees of Gemini. So you see the Taurus bull is the symbol in the middle. And then the last one is the Pi sign for Gemini. And that just moved into retrograde. It is, if you look up here in my old address, 7:33 p.m. 7:35. I guess I have to refresh the screen. So here we go, 7:35. So also, Jupiter just went into Aries at the same time in the 5th house. You see that? So you see the 5. You go look at that 4-shaped looking symbol, purple symbol that has 00, which means it's just beginning in Aries. Happy New Year to Jupiter at 00 minutes. So this is like Jupiter's New Year. It's starting the whole zodiac cycle over again. Okay? Now, all these little shapes in the middle, you see the squares. All the red lines are squares. So everywhere you see a red line, you'll see a square in between it. That's a big deal, but we really I can't focus on that right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to figure out how to take off so many things off the wheel so that we can kind of focus on one thing at a time. But you see there's a number of squares, so that means conflict, okay? A number of oppositions, that's these little things in the middle. Can't make it any bigger, but they look like 2 circles in the middle of a bar. Then we have the trine, so there's good energy going too, as well as the sextiles, which are these little purple stars. So the trines and the trines are triangle, and the sextiles are the little purple stars. So those lines represent like the good energy, the positive energy, the compatible energy, the quick energy that will, help kind of make things better in a certain kind of way. Then we have all the red lines, which looks like it's overpowering them. That's the squares and the oppositions. So there's a constant opposition, which is going straight across, which is why the oppositions are in the center here, with the South Node in Scorpio and everything in Taurus. So that's why we have a lot of oppositions here in the middle, okay? Then we have everything that's a fixed sign, Scorpio and Leo, which is this top line up here, the top of the square, pointing towards the Leo symbol. It's also Taurus, which is why it's going towards the Taurus 7th house area where the Taurus planets are. And then it's going towards Saturn and Uranus, which is in the 3rd house. The 4th house, I mean. Yes. The 4th house. Saturn and Uranus right now is at, Aquarius. I'm saying Saturn and Uranus. Saturn and Uranus are 2 different planets, and they're representing the new world and the old world. Saturn in Aquarius is at 24 degrees down here. and 44 minutes. So it's opposing everything in Leo, but there's nothing in Leo right now, but it's also having this square between everything in Scorpio, which is just the South Node, and everything in Taurus, which is just the North Node, the Sun, and Uranus. But right now, Saturn is not really affecting anything quite yet until that moon moves into, well, just moved out of Leo. But, okay, y'all, so shift week. Not shift with the T at the end. Shift. Wait a minute. Shit. Shit is hitting the fan this week. So I had to redo this post. I made it last night. Discuss how I'm back on the ring light and getting things popping, but I didn't have any organization. So I want to do this all over. Rewind, because we are in the beginning of Mercury retrograde, as I just showed you on that wheel. All right, we have Jupiter today also moving into Aries. Happy New Year, Jupiter. And then this Mercury retrograde, and then this Scorpio lunar, total lunar. See, Mercury retrograde is trying to make me tongue-tied. That's why I had to put things in plan, in organization, with Virgo being the other planet that is ruled by Mercury. So I had to do some organizing before I got to jibber jabber. But yeah, the Scorpio lunar, total lunar eclipse is basically the full moon in Scorpio. So y'all know this is a powerful one. We have the Scorpio South Node. I really had to talk today because the South Node is in 22 degrees. So it's conjunct my Scorpio Sun at 22 degrees. So I'm just feeling like extra emotional this week, and I really want to get myself together and try new ways because we're with the Mercury retrograde. So tying Jupiter in Aries entering just a few minutes ago, Jupiter in Mercury in retrograde just a few minutes ago began. It is May the 10th. It's 10. I have 10-10. I had 10-10. I saw 10-10 today on May the 10th. And the lunar eclipse, plus a whole lot of other, not a whole lot of others, but everything is connecting together. And I'm here to tell you what you might notice that I've already noticed in myself, and then what you might notice, and then how to kind of deal with it and stay out the way. Stay out the way is the main key, but let's just talk about it a little bit. Okay, shout out to Achuta Baba, who is a white man who does astrology really well and is just super organized. I know he's a Cancer. He takes care of home with his daughters and wife, as well as teaching people astrology, and has the whole setup. So kudos to you. I'm trying to be like you, and I definitely am planning to take your classes very soon. Just watched his video on how to break this all down. So first I want to start with, of course, the two things we popped off with Jupiter in Aries and Mercury in retrograde right now in Gemini. And then there's a list of other aspects that are happening that we can just tie all of the challenges or the motivating even things that will happen just in this week alone. All right, so the first two, again, Jupiter in Aries. It's the Jupiter New Year. Anything that goes into Aries, Venus just went into Aries, so she had her New Year. Mercury's already been in Aries because it's in Gemini, so it's already had its New Year. Mars is getting ready to go into Aries in a couple of weeks, or a few days, and then it'll have its New Year. So every time something goes into Aries, that's the planet's New Year. Just like Earth went into Aries with the Sun on March 21st, which is the spring equinox, which is why all the Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn signs, they all start the seasons. All right, so the next thing is going to be when Mercury is in retrograde, going backwards is Jupiter is entering Aries. They sextile each other because that is fire and air. Fire and air are compatible. That is expanding on like whatever information we're getting on how to work things out. And I'll tie all this again into how the energies that are getting ready to come in. Then we have, after that, the Sun squaring Saturn. So the Sun is still in Taurus in a fixed sign, squaring Saturn in Aquarius, the other fixed sign. Saturn in Aquarius is the new energy from Uranus, ruled by Uranus. And was also formerly ruled by Saturn, so it's like the new world fighting the old world. And the sun is just illuminating all that. Why are they squaring? Because there's new things coming through in the sun in Taurus. New money. So the new QFS system is supposed to be popping off. The banks are going crazy because of this, because, you know, they don't want to be caught in the corruption that they do. That's the situation. Then we have, or any big corporation doesn't want to be caught, and the sun is like shining light on finances. The sun in Taurus is about food, so that's the food. It's not a food shortage. It's really the bad foods, the children's milk, the baby's milk, the baby's formula is bad. It's from China, y'all. You're not supposed to be doing that. Figure it out. Figure out how to, whatever they did before formula, that's what we're going back to, okay? Next is the lunar eclipse on the 15th. So let me do this. Today is the 10th. Jupiter and Mercury did their thing today. After that, tomorrow on the 11th, Jupiter will move towards a sextile in Aries. Then on the 15th is when we have this Sun square Saturn. Then on the 16th is when we have the lunar eclipse, the total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. I'm gonna do a separate thing on that the closer we get, because this week has already popped off crazy for me. And I'm just gonna have to prepare and slow down and rest and tell y'all all the things that we all could do just to get not used to this energy, but not swallowed into this energy, okay? Then after the lunar eclipse on the 16th, on the 17th, we have Mars in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. The action, the aggression, going up against the illusions. And even though conjunction is good, they're both in Pisces. They're both either wrapping up things or totally escaping from things. Feeling victimized, like, woe is me, what am I going to do, when all you can do is wrap up and get ready for the new, okay? You have Mars sextiling Jupiter on the 19th. And I'm sorry, not Mars, Mercury retrograde sextiling Jupiter in Aries on the 19th. This is Mercury, since Mercury's in retrograde, we're going backwards with Mercury and Gemini. Whatever ideas and plans you had, Jupiter can expand on it after we figure out some things on how we're going to do it, and it'll expand on it even while you're figuring out the things. Jupiter will bring the abundance to it after you have figured out the things and after they collectively have worked. That's what a sextile does. They have it's working out in your best favor. Just work with it. It's a lot, y'all. And I'm just giving the aspects. I ain't even gone through the list of energies. All right, on the 21st, which is the first day of Gemini, the sun in Gemini, and then Mercury in retrograde in Gemini will conjunct the sun. May 21st is so many days. May 21st is Biggie's birthday. That was my favorite rapper, even though I don't mess with celebrities no more. One of my friend's birthdays, she got engaged on her birthday, and we all graduated at the graduation of college, Virginia State University. Dean and Mina got engaged, so that was a big, May 21st is a big day, and it's the first day of Gemini season, and it's another one of my close friends, Nina's birthday too, so shout out to the Geminis. All right, Gemini represents siblings and stuff too, so I got a little story to tell y'all in the future about the siblings in my family, not my siblings, but my children and siblings. That came up yesterday. All right, we have on the same day, the sun will sextile Jupiter. So again, Jupiter in Aries, sun in Gemini by this time on the 21st. And that is an expansion on the information, in my opinion. And then, so it's at the same day. The Mercury is conjunct with the sun as well as sextiling Jupiter. Promising to be like the hangover after this whole week by the time we get to that day, the 21st. Like the hangover of Taurus season and all the partying we did and all the Scorpio Taurus energy that is going on too will Like, we'll be totally drunk. We'll be totally shit-faced. Shit is hitting the fan this week if it hasn't already for you. If it hasn't already been noticed in the collective as it is. Okay, we don't have to go through that right now. But get ready to sober up and be a little less hungover by Gemini season. But then again, Mercury retrograde doesn't end until the 3rd, and then we have the shadow period. So, all right, let's get to the energies. So these energies, I have about 10 of them. Again, shout out to A True Baba. I did not totally copy this man, but y'all should look at him. I'll try to spell out his name for you all because I know you don't really understand what I'm saying, and it took me to look at his name to see how it's spelled out, but he's really good on YouTube. Excellent astrologer. I plan on getting my life together and then studying from him, Bracha Goldsmith, Molly, and Cam Newton. All right, so here we go. I call him Cam Newton, the daggone football player, Cam White. All right, here we go. So first thing, number 1, let's discuss the energy of starting something new only to overcome challenges. Right? So like me, for example, I preached to y'all, if y'all been listening, that I did not want a job, that the census was my last job, that I was done with working and I was starting my own business. This retrograde will show me exactly which way I personally need to go, but this is like starting a new job, because me collecting unemployment and then just to turn into delivering Uber Eats and working for a catering company delivery was just not enough to take care of everything that I needed to take care of. So I had to start something new to overcome some challenges. Number 2, and that's the energy that's coming from all the aspects that I just went over. Okay. And I'm reading a long list of energies because not every energy is going to hit everybody. Some will hit more than others. Some might get 2 of these energies. Some might get all 10 of these energies. I feel like I got a good 8. All right. Changing plans or the course. So yeah, long story short, with one of the things I'll share with you all too is that I had been talking about moving because I was grateful of being blessed with a voucher from Montgomery County, but y'all know I'm from DC. Changing the plans. They found out that I wasn't technically living in Montgomery County, and they pulled my voucher just yesterday. Pulled it. Sent me the denial letter and everything, and I've had it. Just hadn't found the right place that I wanted yet for at least a month and a half. I got it on March 31st. Got approved in February. So even though it was their fault that they gave it to me, they took it back. So now I got to change my plans and game. Number 3, unexpected blocks that lead to fast solutions. So I'm at a roadblock, staying with my family, but we do have to get into our own place for our own immediate family, and I have an unexpected roadblock that I got on the phone, that's what we call the phone. Called a couple of people, talked to a couple of people. Oh, it's that easy? Okay, let me make sure because it's Miss Mercury retrograde. So double check. Let me make sure this is exactly paperwork I need. How much do you charge? How fast can you do this? Okay, let me read and I'll get back to you by such and such time. All this just happened. All this just happened in the last hour. So I got an unexpected block yesterday in the last 24 hours. And then that led to a fast solution today. But I'm still going to check my options. Always check your options. No matter what. This Mercury retrograde is a bunch of aspects going on. Every day, check your options. Number 4, protected from the worst when the worst happens. I'm just going to say this. It has to do with something else that went down, but it also has to do with what's going on with the collective. I had to talk about the Roe versus Wade situation. When you are at a point in life where you are having murderous ambitions and you go through with them, you got to come to a point where you're saying, okay, well, if the government's going to control my life, which you don't need that, definitely don't need that, right? But if I want to get my life together, if I want to keep my body intact, if I don't want the clinics to have control of my body even, then I need to find a better way when the worst happens. Strap up. Fuck the person that could be a good baby daddy. Do what you gotta do to be okay. Always be prepared. Always reevaluate, like I said, whether it's Mercury retrograde or not. So even if the worst happens, you have a plan B. Number 5, big breakdown to big breakthrough. And I've been saying this. I've been saying that we're going to have breakdowns to have breakthroughs since the Taurus and Scorpio, North Node and South Node changed back in January, right? So because the eclipses come from these nodes, we're about to have some kind of big breakdown, which means everything's pretty much going to go to death to be reborn. Transformation week 2. Then we're talking about like the next 2 weeks, kind of like I'm a week and a half here until Gemini season. We are like at 10 days away. Number 6, you have the right to be angry, which I say that to myself all the time as a Scorpio. You just have to strategize how to get your point across. So I'm talking to myself as I look at myself in this camera. I gotta strategize a way to know that I'm right and I have the right to be frustrated, but let me get my point across so that I can get what I want. Scorpio energy all day, baby. Scorpio energy all day. And then the moon has to deal with our emotions, so I can't get emotional. We can't get emotional. Can't be fearful. Can't be overpowered. Can't get emotional. Strategize. All right. We are at number 7. Let me take a quick water break. Shout out to my Scorpio goddaughter whose house I stay in. Love you, Sadie's. She gave me this candle for Mother's Day. She said she got it because it says uplift, and that's what I want to do for y'all. We got to uplift. This is senses, and we're in Taurus season, so candles. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but meditation, all the things you need to do and deal with your senses. Listen to some good music, eat some good food, smell some good scents, see a good movie, feel a soft animal, put on some clothes that just make you feel so good. Uplift yourself in Taurus season. Shout out to all. Number 7, a sacrifice. And sacrificing is the Scorpio thing. We sacrifice ourselves, our time, money, all kinds of things in order to get what we want, honestly, but also to compromise. It's hard to compromise. It's hard to sacrifice, but some things you need to release expectations from. This world is changing. If you don't release, it will eat you alive. Release from certain things. Release from stuff that does not make you feel good. If you are crying over a certain situation, or if you are angry over a certain situation, or if you are discombobulated over a certain situation, you have to release it. Or it will just sit with you, because you're keeping it here, in your stomach, in your gut, in your back. You're keeping it in this body. Release it. Sacrifice the fear. Shout out to my mother. On Mother's Day, she didn't wear a mask, and I'm so proud of her because she would not release that mask. I'm almost getting emotional. Number 8, overwhelming situation, but we had the resources to deal with it. So again, the feeling I got when they called me and emailed me and sent me that denial letter and all this stuff, and just everything hit me at once, and it wasn't even Mercury retrograde yet. It was the shadow, and the shadow can be just as tough. That's why Mercury retrograde ends on the 3rd, but it doesn't get out of its shadow until June 18th. So an overwhelming situation will still bring us the resources, because remember, I'm discussing all those. So we had sextiles. We didn't have any trines that are significant, but trines are pretty quick. Sextiles is like working together for a minute, and then bam, Here's a solution. We have a sextile with Jupiter twice in the next few days. The sun sextiling Jupiter when it moves into Mercury, and Mercury retrograde sextiling Jupiter in Aries, because this is the fire, the starters, the motivators are the fire signs, and the information and communication are the air signs. And when they have compatibility, expect the starting of communication, the starting of getting some knowledge or something, the starting of a new year. So Jupiter is bringing new abundance by it being its new year. Number 9. Achuta Baba didn't say it this way, but I said it this way. He didn't say any of this stuff this way. I kind of reworded it. I think he just used, I can't remember what he used, but I said even bipolar is motivating, because I used to say that when they labeled me with that, when they labeled my child with that. The infamous they, y'all know who they are. But even being bipolar was motivating, especially when you're in manic. He said manic, okay? So the manic side, it gets you riled up. It gets you at God. The reason they say you're manic is because you think you are better than anybody. You think you are bigger and better. But like, that's Aries energy. That is, I am a God. I realize I am, and I'm going to act accordingly. Even bipolar can be motivating. You don't go too far to saying is I'm a God and I can jump off this cliff and nothing's going to happen to me. You just think higher of yourself. Number 10 and final one is Pisces shit. So we have that Mars in Pisces conjunct Neptune. That energy can be the energy that was between Jupiter and Neptune a few weeks ago is now Mars and Neptune, and Mars being aggressive, being an individual planet, having to do with a lot with yourself, being ruled by Aries. It's in its detriment in Mars, or one of its detriments. Fall, something like that. It's not at its best. And this can bring victimization, you just not wanting to get over stuff. Pisces is wrapping it up. A lot of water signs can cling, but they also can release, like water, that dam is breaking type water, okay? And also the Scorpio shit, the Pisces shit and the Scorpio shit can be just like overwhelming, overpowering, too much water, too deep. Bring the lower energies of Scorpio and Pisces, victimizing with Pisces, fear with Scorpio. Leave it alone. All right, what can you do? You can meditate, you can take a walk, you can journal, you can hydrate, drinking lots of water, which is what I like to do when there's lots of water in the chart. I like it when fire is in the chart though too, because fire starts stuff. So I'm ready for the new. I like it when a lot of air is in the charts, and I mean like the daily charts that I just showed you at the beginning of this video. The wheel, the circle. When there's a lot of air signs, there's going to be good communication, or some kind of communication, some kind of information coming in. That's why when right before the Scorpio and Taurus North Node and South Node, we had the Gemini and Sagittarius. So that's the start of a new world with Sagittarius, the fire sign, South Node, or releasing the old world, or releasing the old beliefs. And we had the Gemini, the new information that was coming in. Okay, like all of us truthers got so much information between 2020 and 2022, the beginning, before they switched. Then now we're just like, okay, let's start dropping this with the Scorpio South Node. Let's release this. And the Taurus North Node is taking us into our 5 senses, what we value more, what we need to watch, what we value, what we need to change, what we value, in the direction that it will lead us in with the North Node. So journal, rest, meditate, walk, hydrate, and literally stay out the way.